Hello everyone, my name is Sniping is Fun, and I welcome you all back to my next Super Smash Bros. Discussion here on my channel. Yet another character I wanted to talk about, yet another character of why do people want this character in Smash Bros. And it's Rayman from the, Rayman series made by Ubisoft. And just like always, there are pros and there's cons, there's likes and dislikes, there's the positives and there's the negatives, and just like I mentioned with Shadow the Hedgehog and Waluigi, Minecraft Steve, Shantae, whoever the heck else I've done videos on, Phoenix Wright, Gino, and all that stuff. It's the same kind of thing. I talk about the positives, I talk about the negatives, I talk about why the character makes sense and doesn't make sense, and so on and so forth. And just like a few of those videos with the whole PS4 gameplay videos playing them, you're going to be seeing, as I'm talking in this video, Rayman Legends playing on the screen as I talk about why Rayman both does and does not make sense in Smash Brothers, and why I could see why people want him, and why I could see, why people don't want him in Smash Brothers. And this is going to be kind of like more of an even kind of video, like I was with Doom Guy, who else? Minecraft Steve, and the likes of that. Like, it's going to be like a character I don't really care so much for, but I'm not against seeing them in Smash Bros. It's not straight up like questioning why people in their freaking minds want someone like Shadow the Hedgehog or Waluigi, but it's not going to be one of those things where it's like I'm absolutely on the side of people who are requesting and want this said character in Smash Bros. Like Shantae and Phoenix Wright. This is like middle of the ground, even Steven, kind of regardless. But I'm going to start with the negatives first, and then I'm going to go on to the positives. And that's about it. With that being said, let's get started talking about Rayman. Woo! Now, negatives. Here's my one thing I would have to say that I question about, like Rayman kind of thing. It's like I like the Rayman franchise, but in my opinion, I think people push for him a little too much, and like he is a character I would definitely love to see like in Smash Bros. At some point, and he does deserve it to an extent. But at the same time, I think there are other characters, like especially long-running characters that have been around gaming for a while, that I think first and foremost do deserve it maybe above him. And I think the demand for him is a little much, because I do know people were going crazy for him during like Smash Brothers like 4 and whatnot. Like there was like when he was like just a trophy in Smash Bros 4, people were going crazy, like thinking like, oh, maybe he's gonna be playable, or it's like someone were like leaking, or a rumor, like spoiler kind of thing, like he was gonna be playable and whatnot. And one thing I just think is like there's certain characters I believe that fans overrate a little bit for Smash Brothers, and that comes from both like a Nintendo side of things as well as third parties. That is sure as hell what I was thinking about when it came to like the Waluigi video. I'm like, I think people overestimate Waluigi's popularity and overestimate Waluigi's, like, in terms of Waluigi's importance and why, and like, oh, he should be in Smash Brothers. I think they do the same thing with Rayman, and it's not saying that as a means and that's not even necessarily saying that Rayman doesn't deserve it, but I do think he is a character that's overhyped and over, pushed for Smash Bros. Not saying he does, like, not that he doesn't deserve it, or that he doesn't deserve it, but that I think he is definitely an overhyped character, overpushed character for Smash Brothers. And I say that as a fan of the series to some extent. I've been playing the Rayman series really since it started, so like not every single game, but I have played a decent chunk of them. And I do think he is like a gaming icon. He definitely, from that standpoint, deserves like that. But like I said, I think he is overhyped in terms of like people want him over characters I think that would make a little bit more sense than him. And I'm not just talking about like third parties, but also Nintendo characters. And then from Ubisoft himself, from itself, like I do think he is probably like the I do think he might be the definitive choice, but he's not like the only choice. And I personally would like think there's other Ubisoft franchises that kinda, sorta, kinda have a means like to being in. And I think that's really about it for the negatives I think on him. I think like there's other third parties that really deserve it before him. Especially some from like the more iconic third parties that have been around for a while. He's been around since like the 90s. So yeah, like in terms of iconic, there's people that are more iconic than him. There's people that are just as iconic as him. That I think there are third parties that like deserve it before him. I don't think he's as popular of a character as people kind of make him out to be, even though his franchise is pretty popular and fairly well loved. I do think there's like I do think people overestimate him a little bit, and I think how much hype he has for people in Smash Bros. Because there's a lot of people that think like he's like a definitive choice, like he has to be in. And I hate when people do stuff like that, because there's certain characters I'd say that might make sense to. And I'm not gonna deny that. There's certain characters like I think like if you see them like, oh yeah, they're Smash Brothers material. They're characters to add to Smash Brothers. They're almost shoo-in levels of you know, making it in the Smash Brothers. But people do that to Rayman, and while I do think Rayman is close enough to that camp, I don't think he's directly in that camp like some third parties they've added already, as well as some third parties that they have not, you know, added yet that probably deserve a little bit more than him. Like popularity, people overestimate his popularity a little bit, and I do think even just from Ubisoft itself, I think there's some other possible choices. Case in point, I know it's less like Nintendo oriented than Rayman is, although recently over the last like 2 generations, 2.5, because DS as well had some games, side games for the series. Like, but it's like pretty much almost like Ubisoft's almost flagship franchise at this point. Like technically, like Rayman was like their original like flagship mascot type franchise, but they push Assassin's Creed a lot nowadays. So I think in terms of just getting an Ubisoft character in Smash Brothers at all, Rayman has competition like against like other franchises like Assassin's Creed. I mean, he may not have much competition with say like Far Cry or Prince of Persia or stuff like that maybe, but he does have competition with, I would definitely say at the very least, Assassin's Creed, which has pretty much become their major flagship franchise. Gets games a lot more than Rayman does. Rayman Legends has, you know, came out in what, 2013? It's been like 7 years since the last like new, or maybe 6, it may have been 2014, like 13, 14. I know the whole Ubisoft, it was originally supposed to be a Wii U exclusive game, and then I don't know what the hell happened there, and the game like was supposed to come out on like just exclusively on Wii U, and then they held off on it, put it on like every other system, and I don't know. Ubisoft was kind of stupid with that. Like from a franchise that gets more low, like gets a lot of love kind of thing, like Rayman doesn't get a whole lot of love anymore. Like they brought it back with like Origins and whatnot, and then did this. But like lately, most of the Rayman stuff since like the Wii era has been like the Raving Rabbids stuff. And I just think, from a standpoint from Ubisoft might personally want, like, I know Nintendo might want, like, for example, like Rayman. Sakurai might want Rayman. The gaming community may want Rayman, but does Ubisoft want Rayman? Because they do technically sometimes have at least somewhat of a say on who they want in the game. And I question if, like, as much as, oh crap, no, go up, Rayman! But I do think I question that, and I say that as a fan. Like I said, Rayman fits and he's a gaming icon, but still, I think that's a negative against him. Like, Ubisoft might want to use another franchise that they use more often because they would have at least some sort of say in it, like Assassin's Creed, or even more of an iconic franchise, like long running, like Prince of Persia. Like, people overhype Rayman a lot, even though he does deserve at least some of it. And, you know, there's other other characters in general, but third parties specifically, that I think, you know, deserve it, you know, more than him. Like, not, like, or at least deserve it before him. Like, you know, okay, maybe you would put in, like, crap, how do I get out now? That's apparently how. But, like I said, that's about it. And it's not even, like, a knock against him. That's not a massive negative against him. But, yeah, there you go. But in terms of positives, why I can see why people want to make sense for him, now I'm going to get on the positive side. The pros side, why Rayman makes sense. He is pretty much, and I mentioned this before in the negatives, he is pretty much Ubisoft's mascot. He is pretty much Ubisoft's Mario for the most part, even though Assassin's Creed's become like their mainstay franchise as of late, and something like, for example, like Prince of Persia is more of their more iconic franchise because Prince of Persia's been around since the 80s. He is their mascot. Like Rayman's been around since like about 1995, I think, since the... I'm trying to think when, like, it was on the PlayStation 1, but it was also, I think, like, on the Sega Saturn and whatnot. And, like, and the series has been around for about, like, 25-ish years. It's a long-running series, and it's got numerous games throughout that time. Like I said before, like, in the negative aspect, like, it's been a while since Rayman's got a game, say, for example, like Rayman Legends here. This was, I think, it was the last game they got. I mean, the crossover with, like, Mario and the Rabbids thing on the Switch is, in of itself, recent, because that was, like, 3 years ago. But Rayman specifically hasn't had a game since Legends, and Legends was, like, 2013, 2014. But that's not to take away from the fact that he has numerous games in his franchise over the last 25-ish years, and not just that makes him a gaming icon and a super popular character that's super heavily requested and popular, he does have a lot of Nintendo representation. Most of his games are on Nintendo. The first one wasn't, unless they ported it to it later. But like Rayman 2 was on the N64, Rayman 3 was on the N64. There was numerous Rayman games on the GameCube and Game Boy Advance, like spin-offs, that Rayman Arena game, all these different Rayman spin-offs. Come the Wii era, that's when the Rabbids went over like crazy, and the first game was essentially Rayman Raving Rabbids. Like, it started off as specifically a Rayman spin-off with the Rabbids that became its own thing. And then since then, you know, Rayman, you know, returned with Rayman Origins, which was on the Wii and whatnot, and then Rayman Legends was on the, you know, the Wii U and now the Switch. He has numerous games, and there's a lot going for him, and I can see clearly why a lot of people request him, why people go crazy. He is definitely one of the most heavily requested third-party characters, and it's been mostly because a lot of people grew up with his games. His games have been around since about the time I was around like 5 or 6 years old. I'm 30 years old now, and it's like he's been around. I really can't remember the gaming scene for the most part without Rayman really in it. So he's in everyone's mostly memories. A lot of people play his games. Obviously, he's going to be a popular request that a lot of people want, especially because he's so Nintendo oriented and he's a mascot character, which easily, those types of characters fit into Smash Bros. Banjo and Kazooie, Mario, Mega Man, all the mascot-y characters easily fit into Smash Bros. And Rayman is clearly one of those choices, despite the fact that I would say he's maybe not the definitive choice and not the most choice I would probably pick. He definitely is in that camp of like super iconic, super pushed, heavy, you know, requested type characters. And that's really the reason why. There's the positives and there's the negatives, I think, in terms of like, you know, Rayman. Negatives, you know, like other third parties, other characters make a little more sense. People overhype him a lot, and Ubisoft might want to use something like Assassin's Creed instead, which I think would be maybe a fairly interesting character in and of itself. And I might do a video on that in this series at some point, like the Mortal Kombat and Resident Evil ones. Positives, like he's a super iconic, long-running character, popular requested, been around since freaking forever, and a lot of his games are on Nintendo, and he's pretty much Ubisoft's mascot, so if they ever got a character, to be fair, it probably would be Rayman. At the very least, their first character, if they can get more than one. So, like I said, I'm not super like for him like I am, say, someone like Shantae or Phoenix Wright, but I'm not super against him like a Shadow the Hedgehog or Waluigi. He falls into the camp personally for me, like Minecraft Steve, Doom Guy, and, you know, Gino and whatnot, like in that middle, even Steven, middle of the road type character that I don't care so much if he gets in, but if he got in, I would be happy for him, happy for his fan base, and really that's about it. So that's about it. Put in the comment section what you guys think. Do you want to see Rayman in Smash Brothers? The pros and the cons. What do you agree or disagree? And put them down there, discuss them down there, and that's it for Smash Brothers. Next discussion of why do people want Rayman in Smash Brothers? So with that being said, my name is Sniping Peace. Please subscribe if you want to. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you all later in the next video. Bye everyone.